Hello friends, and welcome back to another video. Today it is going to be my November wrap up, and before I get started, I'm kind of just going to talk about like a blessing moment here for a second because I feel like I really need to talk about it, and I'm still trying to process this whole thing. So I was asleep like right before recording this video, and I woke up to an email from a lady at my college who's like in charge of the whole financial aid area. And I was like, when I saw it, I was like, oh my god, like, here's my chance. Like, I'm gonna get kicked out because I don't pay like on time, or I have too much like financial obligation that I need to pay that I won't be able to pay off. And I was like, well, it's been nice knowing you, Valley Forge. And I looked, and it was an email saying somebody gave me a $500 book voucher. And if you don't know what that means that somebody gave me $500 to buy textbooks. And it's still, I cannot process this. She was like, hey, somebody gave you a $500 book voucher. Would you be able to meet with me when it's convenient so I can talk to you about this? And I was like, what? Like, I still cannot wrap my mind around the fact that I am so blessed enough to have somebody do that for me. And I'm so shocked that that has happened. But anyway, I just decided I'd share that with you guys. So, I mean, I hope my happiness like makes you happy, or faith in humanity is restored a bit for you guys, but I'm just gonna get started. So the only physical book I read this month that I have with me still, which is the only one I'll be able to show, is Sold by Patricia McCormick. I had to read this for my lit class, and this book was a tough book. Not meaning that it was a hard book to read. No, it was just tough because of the content. This is about a girl who is sold into sex slavery. She is thought that she's going to the city to be a maid, and her father sells her for 800 rupees, I believe it is, to go and be prostituted to a bunch of random guys. And the stuff that she goes through in this book is not worth 800 rupees. It's not worth the amount of money in the world. So I ended up reading this, and I could not put it down. The way it was set up, though, is it was so easy to read. It had these little sections, so I don't want to say it was written in verse, but it was written in a way that you could speed through this book. And it really was just a great book, and I rated this 4 out of 5 stars. I don't really know why I didn't rate it 5 out of 5 stars. I think there was a certain reason, but in my still shocked state, I cannot think of that reason. So yes, 4 out of 5 stars for Sold by Patricia McCormick. I would definitely recommend this book if you want something to open your eyes and open your heart to the horrors going on in this world, because there's also another book that I read called One Among Us by Paige Darth that deals with the same exact stuff, but it is set in Pennsylvania instead of India. So it's really mind-opening to the things that go on around you in the world. Next book I read was Blur. It is kind of a textbook thing that I had to read for my youth culture class. Blur isn't just the full title, but I don't really know the full title, and it is written by Jeffrey Cuse. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but I don't really know how to explain this book fully, and I really don't want to because I didn't really like the book. I rated it 3 stars on Goodreads, but I gave it 2.5 stars in real life. It just wasn't a book for me. I'm not interested in reading those types of books that are like nonfiction filled with statistics that you have to get in classes, and so I wasn't too fond of it. So there is that. The next book is The Passenger by Lisa Lutz. This was actually the first book I finished in the month of November, and I rated this 4 out of 5 stars. It's basically about this girl who ends up being at the death scene of her husband, who is not pushed down the stairs, who falls down the stairs and ends up dying. And so she thinks she's going to end up getting accused of killing him, and there's a whole bunch of stuff in this backstory about why she's like that, and the story unravels, and it's really interesting, and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars if I didn't say that already. I can't do this, I have to open a window. Okay, so I will give you a quick warning. If you hear screaming or like loud voices, that is because since my window is open, the guys' soccer team is playing soccer outside my building, like right next to my building, with the recruits, and they end up being really loud, and it looks like they're doing like a team scrimmage type thing. And they get normally really loudly when they do that. So just a warning, if you hear yelling, it is them. But you probably will hear yelling. The next book I read was Veiled Magic by Deborah Blake, and I rated this 3 out of 5 stars. I think it was actually 3.5 out of 5 stars. Don't really remember, but this is about a witch who helps out with police, and she summons the dead back to life to see how they were killed and to see who the suspects were and everything like that. And it's definitely a really interesting book. It wasn't my favorite. It took me a bit to get into, and I thought it was a bit annoying at first. I guess that's the word. But still, it was a good read nonetheless once I got past everything. But the ending was a bit but it still was a good read. The next is a whole trilogy I read, and a lot of these books I got off of NetGalley as ebooks, e-arcs I should say. And this trilogy has been actually out, but I finally have like a chance to read it, and I got it from NetGalley to review, and this is called the Covenant of Mirwood trilogy. And so it's about this girl, and she gets banished from her homelands, and she was a princess. She was going to be an heir to the throne, like she was going to take over it and be a queen, but her area has never had a queen as a leader, and so a whole bunch of crap goes down. And let me tell you, if you are looking for a really good fantasy trilogy and you just are in the mood for fantasy, I would definitely suggest this trilogy because it is so amazing. I loved it so much. I started it off and I was like, well, this is going to be like another stupid trilogy because it took me a while to get into. And no, I couldn't have been more wrong. These books are definitely amazing, and I loved reading them so much. Okay, so you will see in the bloopers that my video got hijacked for a bit, so I literally have no idea where I was with talking. So I'm just going to go on to the next book that I was going to talk about because, you know, I'm not going to try and remember where I was at. Oh, I remember now. Okay, so I was talking about the trilogy, and I rated the first book 4 out of 5 stars, the second book 4 out of 5 stars, and then the third book 5 out of 5 stars. Definitely was a great ending to this trilogy, and I definitely recommend these books if you are a fantasy reader. And then the last final book I read in the month of November is The House on 7th Street by Karen Vorbeck Williams, and I rated this 3 out of 5 stars. It's basically about a girl who ends up inheriting all of her dad's stuff when he dies, and in this inheritance she inherits this huge mansion, and so she's trying to clean it up, fix it up for when people come to look at it, and she's trying to sell it, but things start happening and she believes somebody is trying to kill her because there are hidden gems and hidden diamonds and everything like that, and a lot of money to be able to inherit. And so she ends up believing that these people or somebody is trying to kill her. And I enjoyed this book, but at the same time it was a bit annoying. I don't really know why. I think it was because it was written from like the past and the present, and so it kept switching back and forth, so I got a bit confused while reading it. And then also it was a bit drab in the beginning. The words and how they played everything out was just terribly annoying, and I did not like it. But still, it was a goodish read nonetheless. I wouldn't recommend it specifically to anybody if somebody came up to me and asked me. But if it seems interesting to you, then definitely check it out. So in total, I read 8 books in the month of November, which is actually a lot more than I thought I had read. I thought I had only read 6, but you know what? I'm not complaining. Definitely was a lot more than I was not planning on reading. Definitely a lot more than I thought I was going to get through, because in the beginning of the month, I was in a bit of a reading slump. So I didn't get that much reading done in the beginning of the month, but yes, if you like this video, you should please give it a huge thumbs up and hit that subscribe button down below to be notified of any more videos I post on this channel. And you should tell me in the comments down below what you read in the month of November and what you plan on reading in December. And until next time, bye guys.
I'm reading a book.
She actually has read 2 books in 2 days.
I have to finish reading the third one.
Hello. It's me.
I was wondering if after all these years you'd like to go over.
Oh my god.
That was cute.
Hey everybody, this is Axel. It's my camo bear.
I helped name it.
I read this book It's really good. It made me hate the world for a little bit, but then I liked the ending. There's my book
If
review.
Bailey read it, I want to read it.
I don't like reading. It hurts my brain. That's what I say.
Goodbye. It was nice talking to y'all.
It's not even time for dinner.
I know, but I want to go to the Anvil. I just wanted to say peace, love, Girl Scouts, and have a good Christmas.
I'm a traffic cone.